Good evening, Owen. Yes, I will be assisting tonight. I'm on duty. Do you need anything specific?
Good evening, everyone. Nice to have you on the team tonight. It's just do you have some announcements from your side regarding admin or whatever before I start?
No, I'm not. I'm posting all of that in the chat. All the announcements will be in the chat. Just I would just need the exam date confirmed for the students.
Do you have the exam date for us?
No, Adele asked me to just get it from the students. So if any of the students can just let me know when the exam date is, then we can schedule sessions accordingly. Out there to December. Is it? It
It's
says
for December.
they say. Oh, so the
Claudine,
4th of. Okay, that's
Claudine gave me that info about 2 weeks ago. So it's for December.
okay. Okay, then Adele will probably schedule a few more sessions.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from your side, everyone?
No, nothing at all. Everything else will be in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, students. I hope all of you are well. Thank you to Evelyn Beaumont from Gunisa who's assisting me tonight. From my side, the exam is about where we now, a bit more than a month away. So we have more than enough time for revision. We have more than enough time for individual sessions. So I'm sure Adele will engage with you on that. Um, I will check tomorrow when I'm at office. I wasn't at office today. I'll check tomorrow whom of you requested individual sessions with me, and I'll make the necessary arrangements. Um, then Nadia, 39 days and counting. Then those of you who were online, I think for ILW last night, my apologies that I could not have the class. Unforeseen work commitments came up, and then that class has been rescheduled for tomorrow evening at 5:30. So then there are some students who submitted written work to me. I've resubmitted that to them. So I will check tomorrow again which of you submitted work for me to assess, and I will reply to you guys tomorrow on when you will receive it. Paris, what are you uploading for us here? Oh, Paris uploaded for law of persons is the 2nd of December. Okay, so our law of persons exam is the 2nd of December. When we do law of persons on Saturday, I will discuss the revision timetable with regard to law of persons with you as well. Nadia, I will check my emails tomorrow and I will check for your work. Okay, so in terms of your feedback, I will I will revert you tomorrow. Nadia, I hope that's okay. And then Nadia, you need to rearrange your individual session with me, eh? Okay. So before we continue with tonight's session, are there any questions you want to ask so that I can start? Any questions from your side, students? Anything you're concerned about? Anything you're troubled about? Ask me now or forever hold your peace. Ask me now. Ask me now. Okay. So, students, tonight I was going to use the video function and a whiteboard, but then I didn't make prior arrangements with UNISA in terms of sending out a notice. But for revision purposes, I'm going to use a whiteboard. So I will let you know prior to that so that you can make arrangements to have devices that have camera functions. Okay. Um, Tonight, however, you need to be on your chat function regularly because I'm going to be using the chat function extensively because we're going to speak on numeracy tonight. Numeracy skills, some maths. Okay. So, any questions for me before I start, students? Any questions for me before I start? Students, any questions or any comments before I start? Okay, then if there's nothing from your side, I want you to go to page 86 in the course reader. 86, where we will go to learning unit 6 and we will speak on numeracy skills. Okay, numeracy skills. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do this, students. I'm going to give you a minute to do this. I'm going to need you to have your notepad with you, a pencil, as well as a calculator, because we are going to do some basic calculations tonight as well. So I'm going to give you a minute, get all of those things, and just put a thumbs up in the chat function that you're ready for me. Okay? Paris, I see here in the chat function that you say no, sir. What are you saying no, sir, about? Okay, Nadia, I will check tomorrow morning and then I will engage with you on when we can chat to each other. Eh? So all of you get your calculators, your notepad, etc. And then you just put a thumbs up to say that you're ready so I can start. Okay, Teresa is ready. Palisa is ready. Okay, come guys, get ready quickly. Okay, most of you seem to be ready, so let's start. Okay, first question, I want you to check the chat function for me. Okay, those of you who want to turn off your mics and answer the question, answer. Those of you, the rest of you, put your responses in the chat function. So, I'm putting a term in the chat function now, and I'd like you to explain that to me. Okay, your explanation or your understanding in terms of how a fiduciary duty, okay, is applicable to a lawyer. Okay, why is the fiduciary duty important for a lawyer? Okay, let's start with this as our introduction to numeracy skills. Why is a fiduciary duty important? Anyone? Why is it important, the concept fiduciary duty for a lawyer or a legal practitioner? What is so important about that for a lawyer? Come, guys. Denzel is saying it deals with money matters, hence important to understand as money matters is an aspect thereof, Denzel, but you're not telling me why it's important for a lawyer to have regard for the fiduciary relationship. Why is that so important? Queen, that is a small part of it. Okay? That's a small part of it. What does the fiduciary relationship mean for a lawyer? Why is it so important for a lawyer? Lavuyo, no. No. Anyone else? Come, guys. It tells me you guys are not prepared, eh? Okay, it speaks of unpreparedness because I'm not getting what I want. Um, Paris is on the right track. He's saying acting in good faith, taking the best interest of the client into account. Paris, you on the right path, but still you're not telling me what it is. Queen, you also on the right path, but you're not telling me what the fiduciary duty means and what it is. Nadia is saying because the lawyer should have no, Nadia. Okay, come guys. I want an answer. No one is even telling me what the fiduciary duty means. Okay, it's a Latin term, firstly. Who can tell me what it means? Okay, must I link a prize to the answer? Okay. The person who gets the answer right gets an hour revision session with me face to face. So we can meet for coffee and you can ask me anything related to revision, related to the work. Okay, that's the prize. Who's gonna get it right? Perez, again, you're on the right track, but that's not the answer I want. Firstly, what is a fiduciary duty? What does a fiduciary duty or a fiduciary relationship mean? Okay, tell me that first. Okay, no one? Wow, guys. Nadia, you're giving me an example. A director also has a fiduciary duty. Um, Perez, it's part of it, but you're not telling me what it is. Guys, come on. So no one gets the prize. No one gets to have coffee with me and pick my brain on anything. Okay. Firstly, students, must must I give another minute for Paris again? You saying takes care of the assets of it's part of it. It's an aspect of the fiduciary duty, but you're not telling me what the fiduciary duty is. Okay, Nadia, um, Denzel can alter the legal position and serves. No, Denzel. No, no. Come on, guys. One more try. One more try, guys. Okay. Nothing from no one. So, firstly, when you a party to a fiduciary relationship, or when you have a fiduciary duty, translated to English, you check the chat function for the answer. You are put in a so a fiduciary relationship or a fiduciary duty. firstly means that you are put in a relationship of trust, students. Okay? Someone, it's like a default position. Okay? Because you are a lawyer, because you are a legal practitioner. Okay? The person who consults with you or the person whose matter you deal with, that person automatically holds you in a position of trust. Okay? So, students, this is a very, very important duty. Okay? Now, in terms of what we are discussing tonight, okay, what does a relationship of trust or what does a fiduciary duty have to do with numeracy skills? Please put that in context for me. Okay, please put that in context for me. Okay, you can either speak to me or put your response in the chat function. Okay, what does this fiduciary duty or this fiduciary relationship have to do with numeracy skills? Come, students. Come, Denzel. Come, Perez. Come, Nadia. Come, Queen. Okay. Lucas, Melissa. What does this fiduciary duty or this fiduciary relationship have to do with numeracy skills? Okay, Denzel is saying client entrusts you to administer funds, as for example, to administer an estate. You have been entrusted. Okay. Lucas, yes, it has to do with the funds of clients. Lucas, what about the funds of clients? Queen, no. Knowing that you're not going to waste your money by appointing that lawyer, no, Queen. Okay. Lucas is on the right track. Um, to an extent, Denzel is on the right track. Okay. Melissa, so what is so important about the clients entrusting you with their funds? Okay. Nadia, no. Okay. Let me explain. Okay. So, firstly, you are saying to me, okay, that clients are entrusting you as the lawyer with their money, with their funds. Okay? So when someone entrusts you with their money, who does that money belong to? Okay? Lucas, as you correctly saying, it belongs to the client. But who has control of that money? Who has control of that money? Okay? The client entrusts you with the money. Who has control of the money? Queen, correct. The lawyer. Denzel Perez, the lawyer. Okay? Melissa is saying the money still belongs to the client, but they trust you as the lawyer to have control of it. Now, what happens many a times, students? What happens many a times when clients entrust the lawyer with the money? What happens many a times? What happens many a times when the client entrusts the lawyer with the money? What happens many a times when the client entrusts the lawyer with the money? Anyone? What happens many a times when the client entrusts the lawyer with the money? Students, it's simple. What happens? Melissa, Denzel, Nadia, and Queen, you guys are very, very naive. Okay? You guys are very naive. Okay? From your answers, it seems like you live in a utopia. Okay? Thank you, Paris. Okay? We find the situation where when the client entrusts you as the lawyer with the money, what does the lawyer do? The lawyer runs away with the money, or the lawyer uses the money. Okay? Then what happens to that fiduciary relationship? Okay? What happens to the fiduciary relationship? It's damaged, it's broken, it no longer exists. Okay? So, Lucas, is not a breach of contract, but it's a breach of the fiduciary relationship. It's a breach of trust. Okay? As Sipusetu says correctly, the lawyer has to act as trustee for the money. Melissa, then obviously the relationship is broken. That's correct. They can't trust the lawyer anymore. Okay? So now, for this reason, okay, students, for this reason, a lawyer must operate with two different accounts. Okay, the lawyer must operate with two different accounts. Okay, what do we call these accounts, students? What do we call these accounts? Okay, the lawyer now, because of this fiduciary duty, must manage or operate two separate accounts. What does one call these accounts? Okay, correct. Firstly, you must have a business bank account, a business account, and secondly, a trust account. Okay, so when the client entrusts you with money, with funds, the money will be deposited in your trust account. Meaning, although you the trustee of those funds do not belong to you. Okay, Nadia, a company account is known as a business account. Okay, a lawyer does not work with an investment account. A lawyer works with a trust account. So, in terms of the rules for a legal practitioner and in terms of the Legal Practice Act now, okay, the lawyer must, okay, the legal practitioner who practices as an attorney, okay, must have a business account and they must have a trust account. Okay, the trust account are for all funds or monies entrusted to the lawyer. Okay, and the business account, that is for your daily expenses and for your basically the operation of the day-to-day operations of your legal practice. Okay, so one reason, okay, one reason why lawyers, okay, or attorneys are struck off the role of legal practitioners or from the role of lawyers, okay? Remember, after you admitted as a lawyer, your name is enrolled onto the role of lawyers, either as a practicing attorney or a non-practicing attorney, okay? Those of you who are practicing attorneys must operate a business account as well as a trust account. And every year, the Legal Practice Council will audit your books. And based on the audit, if the audit is positive, they will issue or renew your Fidelity Fund certificate. Okay, we'll speak now what the meaning of a Fidelity Fund is. And if your finances are not in order, if there are discrepancies, they will not issue you with a Fidelity Fund certificate. And you can only operate legally as a legal practitioner in this country. One of the requirements is that you must have a valid Fidelity Fund certificate. Okay, so because of fraud, because some legal practitioners dip into their trust account, that's one of the main reasons why they are struck off the role of attorneys. Okay, it means you have no standing in court, you cannot represent clients anymore. Okay, because we regard you in the legal fraternity as a thief. Okay, we regard you as a thief. Um, any questions for me so far? Any questions for me so far? Okay. Okay.
Hi, Prof.
I'm
Sorry,
listening.
advocate.
Who am I
Queen, yeah.
speaking to? Okay, Queen,
Queen.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I just wanted to ask, how long does it take if I'm a lawyer and then I'm acting dishonestly with regards to the client's fund, how long am I going to be suspended, or is it forever, or is it for a certain period of time? Hello, advocate.
Queen, I hear you. Okay. Once you are removed from the role of attorneys, remember that's only one aspect. The other aspect is fraud and criminal charges could be brought against you. So, aside from being struck off the role, you could or might just end up with a criminal record. Okay. And one of the fundamental requirements, students, Queen, one of the fundamental requirements is that as a legal practitioner and to practice as a legal practitioner, you must meet the following requirement. I'm typing it into the chat function. You must be regarded as a fit and proper person. Okay, so at all times prior to being admitted as a lawyer and during your term as practicing as a lawyer, you must always be fit and proper. Okay, so if you breach the fiduciary duty, it means you no longer meet that standard of being fit and proper. Okay, hence you will be struck off that off. Okay, as Lucas is saying, based on the type of offense, being struck off the roll can be forever or it can be for a certain period of time. Meaning you have to you have to show in a new application to court that you are fit and proper. Okay, so it could be forever based on the circumstances, and based on the circumstances, it could not be forever. Okay, because now you may be in a situation where your bookkeeper or your accountant is the one who acts fraudulently and runs away with the money. And based on his actions, remember vicarious liability, you are now struck off the roll. Okay, so based on those circumstances, you can be re enrolled on the roll. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's continue. Okay. Next question to you guys. What is the relevance or importance of the Fidelity Fund? What is the importance or the relevance of the Fidelity Fund? What is the importance or relevance of the Fidelity Fund, students? What's the importance or relevance of the Fidelity Fund? Okay, let's see. Um, Michelle is saying it's like an insurance fund for legal practitioners which will pay out clients. Okay, Michelle, you're on the right track to reimburse a client that was okay. Should clients lose their money due to the fraudulent actions of the lawyer, the Fidelity Fund provides compensation to those clients. Not for bankruptcy, Nadia. It is important to be registered with the fund in order to, if the lawyers, Melissa is saying, the fund covers them. Okay, so students, the fund only covers a limited amount. Okay, the fund only covers a limited amount, meaning that all those monies, okay, that the fund does not cover, the lawyer or the legal practitioner will now incur personal liability for. Okay, meaning that if you defrauded a client of R1 million, okay, this is a simple example. If you defrauded the fund, sorry, a client of R1 million, okay, the fund, the Fidelity Fund will possibly pay out an amount of 250,000, which will mean you will incur personal liability in excess of 750,000 rand, meaning that client has the right to come after your personal assets. Okay, your house, your car, your bank accounts, your investments, everything. And if you are married in community of property, they can come after the assets of your spouse as well. So for this reason, lawyers in private practice now take out their own indemnity insurance. Okay, so that is an expense to your legal practice because, in addition to being covered by the Fidelity Fund, okay, you also carry your own insurance. Okay, so um, that's important. Okay, any questions before I continue? Any questions before I continue? Okay.
Hi, advocate. It's Denzel.
I'm
Uh,
listening, Denzel.
just a question: if he's struck off the roll, so one of the requirements is obviously having an LLB. Can he still perform any other function in a legal capacity other than wanting to appear in court? So, in other words, can he become a compliance officer or a secretary of a corporation?
Denzel, very good question. Denzel, very, very good question. And this is the way I'm going to answer it now. Okay. Denzel, in terms of that, when a person, okay, who's been in the legal fraternity for long, suddenly becomes known as just a legal advisor, okay, the person now tells you, oh, I'm a legal advisor, that should set off alarm bells for you. Okay, because when you are struck off the roll of attorneys, one of the important aspects of your trade is taken away. Okay, that aspect of having locus standi in court, that aspect of appearing on someone else's behalf in court, that is taken away. And you cannot do that anymore. But it doesn't preclude you from sitting down with someone in an office and just providing legal advice. Okay, so your trade will be limited to that of a legal advisor. And you know today how the private sector as well as government operates. Okay, on the standard government application form, which is the Z83, okay, there are specific questions they ask. Have you been found guilty of fraud or misconduct? Um, do you belong to a body regulating your profession? Those are all questions you have to answer truthfully. Okay, and in addition to that, all employers, whether it's in the public sector or in the private sector, they do criminal checks, they do ITC checks. So somehow, if you don't disclose it, it will come up. Okay, but you can act in the capacity of a legal advisor. Okay. What is Melissa saying? Denzel, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, so we know now the importance of the fiduciary relationship. We know now that a lawyer must manage two bank accounts, the trust account and the business banking account. We also know the relevance of the Fidelity Fund. Okay, now with that, I want us to go to page 87. Okay, we're going to page 87, and it tells us that numeracy, I'm in line 2 of paragraph 6.2. It tells us that numeracy is the ability to read, write, and understand numbers, statistics, graphs, and calculations. Okay? Okay? So, for a lawyer, This is important because you are going to manage a trust account and a business banking account. Okay. One aspect about the trust account, students, very, very importantly, your trust account must, and I'm using the word must always have a credit balance. Okay? Your trust account can never be overdrawn. So it can never reflect a debit balance. Okay? So your trust account must always have a credit balance. Okay? Your trust account can never reflect a debit balance. It can never be overdrawn because then it means you are doing something wrong, you are doing something illegal, you are breaching the fiduciary relationship. Okay? And we're going to page 88 on paragraph 6.3. And here we are looking why a lawyer must have numeracy skills. Okay? We're going to see why it's important for a lawyer to have numeracy skills. Okay? Paragraph 6.3. Okay? And it tells us in line number 3. Okay? Numbers are important for a lawyer because there are many situations that will require you to apply numeracy skills. Okay? And if you look at the following bullets, it tells you the following are examples of some of the things that will require you to apply your numeracy skills as a lawyer. Firstly, as an attorney, you will keep account of your client's money in your trust account that we spoke about. Then, as an executor of an estate, you should be able to calculate the monetary value of the estate, the master's fees, and the administration fees of the estate. Okay? So, one of your exams, okay, one of your admissions exams is going to be on estates, and you're definitely going to deal with that calculation. Okay, certain areas of law, such as tax or commercial law, require fairly advanced mathematics literacy. So if you specialize in tax or commercial law, okay, mathematical literacy is going to be a necessity. Okay, when you advise on matters with financial implications, very, very importantly, such as antenuptial contracts and commercial contracts, you need numeracy skills. Okay, this is an aspect I'm going to speak about now. When you're calculating damages, when making claims on behalf of your clients, this relates to delictual claims. When you need to quantify damages, okay. And then lastly, we mentioned this, as a lawyer, you have to monitor and manage your own business account, meaning your income and expenses, okay, for your practice. This is applicable to you guys who intend opening your own practice practice, or we refer to it as you practicing for your own account. Okay? And then here comes the reality. Okay? Sadly, many lawyers have been found not to have the necessary numeracy skills to deal with the demands of the profession. Okay? And yeah, a High Court judge made a remark in 2007. Okay? And you can read it. I'm not going to read through it now. Okay? Then the following aspect, before we get to the calculations, the following aspect I want to talk about is the issue of apportionment of damages. Apportionment of damages. So, students, what do you understand under the term apportionment of damages? Okay, what do you understand under the concept or the term apportionment of damages? I'll put it into the chat function. Melissa, what does this comment relate to? So does the lawyer pay it out of his own pocket, or does the client pay out of the practice's money? I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay, students, what does the term apportionment of damages mean? What does the term apportionment of damages mean? Queen, what do you mean by that answer? Okay, Queen, explain to me what you mean by that answer.
Okay, advocate. What I think is when you have I don't know how to put it. Separating the prices, like if you buying groceries in the house, for an example, you need to know that your meat is going to cost you this much, and then your toiletries is going to cost you this much. So this is what I think it means, separating the prices or the amount of damages encountered.
Not really, no.
Okay.
Anyone else? I will get back to you on that one. So just listen and then we'll take it from there. Okay, but thanks for the attempt. Anyone else? Anyone else? No one else? Okay. So, students, remember when, okay, Denzel, on the right track and also not on the right track. Okay, so let me explain the concept to you quickly. Okay, students, remember when I spoke about the different procedures in civil or private law? Okay, I indicated that you get an action procedure and an application procedure. Okay? And I also indicated to you that the basis of an action procedure, okay, that the basis of an action procedure is where one party, who is the plaintiff, that party alleges damages, loss, or harm. Okay, and the plaintiff further alleges that the cause of the damage, loss, or harm is as a result of the actions of the defendant. And now the plaintiff approaches the court, okay, with a damages claim or a claim for damages, and the plaintiff seeks relief. Okay, now in South African law, the general rule is that the relief sought, okay, the relief sought is normally quantified and it's expressed in a monetary term. Okay, so for example, Perez, without exercising proper care, reverses into Owen's Porsche, causing 100,000 rands damage. Okay. Perez refuses to pay. What does Owen do? Owen institutes an action for damages against Perez for the recovery of the 100,000 rand. Okay. You all with me? Okay. Are all of you with me? Okay. So sometimes, before I continue, what situation do we have? On the one side, we have the plaintiff who now alleges, who's Owen, I'm now alleging my Porsche, my property. In terms of my property, I suffered damage to the value of 100,000 rand. Okay, and I'm further alleging that Perez was the cause of that damage. Why? Because without exercising proper care, he acted negligently and reversed his car into my Porsche. Okay. Do all of you understand that concept? Okay. Yes or no? Do all of you understand that concept? Okay. Now we have the following situation. Okay. Now we have the following situation. Okay. Now we have the situation where the plaintiff suffers damages. Okay. We have the situation where the plaintiff again suffers damages. But now, to a certain extent or to a certain degree, the plaintiff also acted negligently. Okay? Going to repeat myself. When it comes to apportionment of damages, okay, you have a situation where the plaintiff again suffers damage, loss, or harm. Okay, but now in the next scenario, the plaintiff has to bear some responsibility because to some extent or to some degree, the plaintiff also acted negligently. So now I'm going to give you another example. Okay? Owen comes to the waterfront. He parks his Porsche, okay? And without exercising the proper care, he opens his door and Perez smashes into the door of Owen's Porsche, causing 100,000 rands damage. Okay? What does this scenario give you? This scenario gives you a situation where Owen acted negligently and Perez acted negligently. Okay? And to an extent, both of them suffered damage or loss. Okay? So when you have the situation where both plaintiff and defendant acts negligently, okay, the aspect of apportionment of damages is now relevant, because what the court does is the court applies a certain formula that is based on a percentage value. Okay, this certain formula is based on the court's discretion because the court can decide. So the court, based on its discretion, decides on a percentage value how negligent each party was in causing damages. Okay, and based on the degree of negligence which is decided by the court and based on the court's discretion, the court now apportions damages to each party. Okay, students, does that make sense? Okay, does that concept make sense to you? Yes or no? Okay, Nadia is saying yes, Perez is saying yes, Queen is saying yes, Denzel is saying yes. Okay, so students, I see that in terms of my introduction, it took a bit long. So for tonight, I'm not going to start with any calculations. Okay, for what I'm going to do is next Tuesday, I'm going to use our time because I gave you an introduction now. We had a discussion on important aspects of numeracy. I didn't think it would take so long, but I'm glad I did it. So what I'm going to do on Tuesday next week is I will then concentrate on the calculations. Okay. Before I continue, let's just see. There was Evelyn from UNISA wants you to complete the evaluation form. And then those of you who have not entered your student numbers into the chat function, I need you to do that. And then, are there any questions for me before I conclude, students? There's one or two things I need to say, but are there any questions for me before I conclude? Okay, no questions. Okay, just a few announcements from my side then. Um, okay, just a few announcements from my side, students. I will go through my inbox tomorrow and just recheck for submitted work that you guys have given to me, and then I will go through it, and then during the course of tomorrow, um, give it back to you. Okay, and then also next week for skills for law students, after I have finished with numeracy skills, I will have information for you on the revision program. Remember, skills is the most difficult course in your first year. The failure rate is very, very high. Okay, so in terms of skills for law students, um, the failure rate, I was trying to keep the failure rate low, which I had with some degree of success, but that was in the period before our lockdown. So that was last year. Okay, this year with this virtual teaching and all of that, my plan is to do a bit more extensive revision. Okay, because um, I'm still getting used to virtual teaching. You guys are getting used to virtual teaching, and the results of this must still be tested. Okay, so in order to safeguard you as the student, I want to do extensive revision. Okay, and with this revision, I am going to require you, the onus is on you to comply if I ask you to submit written work to me, because that is one of the ways I assess your skill of critical thinking and writing. Okay, and I also need you, that's why I'm saying the onus is on you to arrange the one-on-one sessions with me. If I don't respond to your request, please just send me an email so that I can go recheck the things. Michelle, you have to retake it. You have to do it over. You have to pass it. Okay? Remember, skill is a foundation course, and in terms of that, you need to pass skills in order to register for other courses. So skills is one of those courses you have to pass. Okay? You have to pass it. Okay? So from my side, I am going to do the best in terms of revision, but I need you on board to work with me. Okay, so that's the first announcement. The second announcement is again the class I missed for yesterday, for last night, the ILW class. That class, I will have a repeat session of that class tomorrow evening at 5:30. Okay, and then what we'll do is the calculations part of numeracy, I will discuss with you next week. Okay, that concludes my announcements. Okay, Are there any questions or comments from your side? There's still a few minutes. So those of you who want to pose a question, it doesn't have to relate to tonight's work. It can relate to other aspects of the work. Ask the questions now. Okay? Ask the questions now, as I still have a few minutes left with you. Okay? Those of you who have concerns, those of you who want to ask the questions now. I'm still online for a few minutes.
Hi, Advocate, it's Denzel again. Just a question, what you said earlier around the failure of the skills course. What, in your opinion, is where do students lack the most? Is it the numeracy part, or is it the Latin words part? Which aspect of the course do you find that students struggle the most with in exams?
Application. Okay, when problem questions are given to you, you cannot apply. And in terms of just generally answering a question correctly. So what happens is many a times you read the questions wrong, or you interpret it incorrectly, or you're just not well prepared. Okay, what I can tell you is, okay, and this is the reality. If you know the entire course workbook, okay, students, if you know the entire course workbook, okay, you know about 25% of the work, okay? And those of you who've been attending my classes regularly, you would have found that much of the content of the work that I speak of is not in the books, okay? So very, very importantly, okay, very, very importantly, when you go to your course workbook, okay, I'm going to give you some examples now, okay? I just want to give you an example. I want you to go to page 87. Are all of you on page 87 of the course reader? I need you to give me a thumbs up quickly. Okay, all of you, I want you to go to page 87. I want to show you a simple example. Okay, so to page 87, I want you to go right to the bottom to the footnotes. Footnote 76, footnote 77, footnote 78. Now my question is, how many of you went through these publications in order to supplement your work, okay, in order to supplement your notes, in order to supplement your knowledge, all of that? How many of you are actually going through the footnotes, going through those books and supplementing your work? If you are doing that, then only you are on the right path. Okay, so Queen, you need to start going through the footnotes of every section. Okay, Nadia, your question I will deal with when I start revision, or I will deal with that when the two of us are on a one-on-one session. Okay, so students, in terms of exam preparation, I'm going to touch on the do's and don'ts. I'm going to touch on exam technique. I'm going to touch on time management in terms of exam. I'm going to touch on exam past question papers, and how to prepare yourself thoroughly. Okay? Okay, Denzel. Okay, so students, are there any other questions for me? Okay, if there are no questions, you need to fill in the evaluation. You need to put your student numbers into the chat, and then those of you who are online tomorrow with me for ILW, we will speak tomorrow, and then the rest of you will speak on Saturday for law of persons. In those courses, I will also start giving you information about our revision sessions. Okay, so students, if there's nothing else from your side, I'm going to conclude, and then thank you to all of you for attending, and then a special thank you to Evran Beaumont from UNISA who provided support to us tonight. Okay. Thank you, students. Good evening. Have a good evening. Study well.